Right, this is a class that I'm going to talk, in a lot of the other classes I sort of do music theory without music theory, but this is music theory. Yeah, and there's, in the music world, there's really been really smart people for the last 500 years listening to musicians play music and making comments about it. And music theory is the comments they make about it. You know, they hear music and they go, it seems to me that, and then they make observations. And these observations become music theory. It's like botanists watching grass grow and making observations, and just seems to me that when grass grows, it does this, and it takes water and it converts it and takes sunlight and does this with it. You know, so that's kind of what music theory is. It's not really smart people telling musicians what to do. It's really smart people just listening to music and listening to what musicians are already doing. So a lot of this is, you may do it, but I'm going to describe it in a way that is even not official music theory. It's just sort of street theory, but it's what people, that sort of shortcut theory. And to do this, I'm going to use this tune that taught me a lot of music theory. In fact, the whole song is just one little really obvious thing after another. And when I was a kid, there was a movie called Around the World in 80 Days, and many of us have seen it, with David Niven. And the theme song from it is, I call it the theme from Around the World in 80 Days. I don't know if it's got an official name, but I would try to play it. And but when I got into understanding music, I saw that this song will, if you learn it, or don't even learn it, but just listen to what's going on, and I'll describe in some way what is happening, will help you develop this sense of what, when they talk about music theory, what the words mean. So I'm going to start by playing it, and then we'll talk about it. And it's tabbed in here somewhere, maybe the last thing in here is it, Around the World in 80 Days. And you can watch it as you go along, or you can just watch and listen, however you want to do it. But my arrangement goes like this. I'm in D, which will be different for us because a lot of times we talk about the key of G, and you see the key of G real well, and D is a little different, but only it's another key. And I should say this, every key conceptually is identical. You know, and when you use a capo, you prove it. You put a capo on the second fret, but you play as if you were in G, but it comes out in the key of A. So A and G are identical, you know, conceptually are identical. So this, what I'm going to say for any one key is true for every key. So here we go. So there you go. That's the little waltz called Around the World in 80 Days. And up on the headline up there, I wrote, and also Kentucky Waltz, but we're not going to get into that. But it's the same form. Kentucky Waltz is the same form as Around the World in 80 Days. Before we do get really into it, I want you to turn to the page that looks like this. And I think Ben has a copy of a different copy in your handout, and but it's the circle. I call it the circle of fifths. Some people call it the circle of fourths, and some people just call it a cycle. And what it is, in one way, it's many, many, many things. But one thing it is sort of a road map. And if we just look at it, and they put C at the top because that's the natural key, but since we talk about G so much, if you look at the G chord there, or G, everybody find G on there? Well, in each key there are three important chords, and they call them the tonic, the subdominant, and the dominant. The tonic is your home base. So G is going to be our home base. The what?
It's like called the root note, is that same?
Right, the root of the scale is G. So tonic is root, home, however you want to think of it. And then clockwise is the D chord, right? That's the dominant chord. And dominance in music is really, really important. And the dominant chord in the key of G is D, because the way this is laid out, and this just reflects music. They didn't make this up, and music follows this. This all comes from listening to music and making observations. So in the key of G, we play, if you hear a D chord, what a dominant chord is the chord that has, I call it gravity, or the magnetism that wants to push the song back to its tonic, which is G, right? So in the key of G, when we hear a D chord, our ear wants to hear G. So if I did this, if we did, roll in my sweet baby's arms, roll in my sweet baby's arms, there's a D chord. Lay around, what's going to come after it, 99% of the time, is the tonic chord, which is G, right? And when we did it, roll in my sweet baby's arms, we wouldn't want to stop there. It's not complete. Lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. Here we go, D, roll in my sweet baby's arms, back to G. And I read this, if you know the word penultimate? It means next to last. So it said the 5 chord, or the dominant chord in each key, is the most popular penultimate chord. So it's the chord that comes before the last. And so if you charted out every bluegrass song in the key of G, almost without fail, after the D chord is going to be the G chord. And if it's not, which there are songs that don't do that, then you remember it. Oh, that's different. So every key has the dominant chord. Okay, so that's clockwise. If you go counterclockwise from G is the C, and that's the subdominant. Right, it's the 4 chord, subdominant. And it has no gravity to it, I'll say. You can go anywhere. You can go back to the tonic or onto the dominant. So in each key, you have a tonic, a dominant, and then a subdominant. The 1, the 4, and the 5, every key. So this whole idea of dominance is really important in music. A dominant chord is what kind of makes the music move forward, makes it move on. So if we think about Salty Dog Blues, and you're all familiar with Salty Dog Blues. Well, it starts on G, but then it leaps to E right away, doesn't it? Okay, so we're on E. Now, E is the dominant of what? A. A is the dominant. A is the dominant of D, and D is the dominant of G. So that's why it sounds normal to do that, is because it just follows this trail. So this idea of dominance in music is really important, and we're going to run into it as we go through all of this. And I'm going to play something real quick just to show you how this can work. And in some circles, they would call this back cycling, meaning you're at one place and you're going to go across the circle of fifths, and then you're going to cycle through back to where you started. So Salty Dog Blues would be a back cycling song. What is Sweet Georgia Brown? Back cycles. Okay, I'm going to play something that doesn't, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. And it's this right here. Wildwood Flower. As it's presented there, it's just C to its dominant, G, and then back to C. But I'm going to announce the chords, and I want you to look at that and tell me what comes next. So I'm going to play C, then I'm going to go to B. What comes next? What comes next? Next. Next. And that. And all of a sudden, it takes on this other reality. So that's something that happens in music. That just shows you how powerful that back cycling is it sounds so natural that, none of it sounded jicky or awkward or anything, which you can make music that is that, makes it awkward but interesting. Yes, sir.
How did you know to go to B? Was it just because it's a step back from C?
Well, it's had the melody note in it. So B7 has the melody note in it. And when you go to E, it has the melody note. So the melody is diatonic, which means they're just notes of the scale. But the chords are non-diatonic, and that's what kind of makes it sound intriguing. So I just want you to be aware of that, because that's a force in music that you play, and you can put it in there. You can, for instance, Salty Dog Blues, the melody is diatonic. Honey, be my salty dog, or I won't be your man of law. Honey, let me be your salty dog. But when you put it with these chords, so I could have done it. Down in the wildwood, sitting on a log, finger and trigger, and eye on the hog. Honey, let me be your salty dog. But putting the chords, see, it makes it more interesting. But anyway, that's just an example. Okay, now let's go to page 1. But this circle of fifths is always an element in music because it describes how you can go. Okay, what's he say here?
Alan, can I ask a question before?
Yeah, I ask away.
I apologize if I mean Captain Obvious here, but so to think of it numerically in any key, the tonic chord would be 1, the sub would be 4, and the
Yes,
in almost every single case.
not in almost every single case, every single case.
And the cool thing about that circle of fifths is that clockwise it's fifths, counterclockwise it's fourths.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there that I don't even, know it exists. But, if you had a three-fingered compass in the middle and you just switched it to any key, you'd get the same thing. So again, every key conceptually is identical.